Hi, welcome back to TELW, the English workshop with me, Manu. I'll give you a small snippet of a conversation and I want to tell you how it sounded. What do you do in your free time? Well, I usually do some gardening. Sometimes I play tennis with my friends. And in the evenings, I usually watch TV. Now, it sounded quite familiar, didn't it? Yes, of course it did. Because this is the kind of thing that we normally speak. Never mind our language, even in our mother tongues, we speak these kinds of things with our friends, etc. These words usually, sometimes, generally, these are called the adverbs of frequency. And using them makes you sound very comfortable, very natural, and very confident with the language. Let's look at some of the practicalities of the adverbs of frequency here. We'll look at four things: the types, the chunks, the rules, and one example. The types. There are two types of adverbs of frequency here: the definite and the non-definite. Definite, as the name suggests, gives you the exact number of times the event happens or repeats itself, or you do it. For instance, the chunks could be every day, every week, every month, etc. Which also means once a day, once a week, once a month. I can also have once a month, twice a month, thrice a month, 4 times a year, etc. And I can also have things like on Saturdays, on Tuesdays, on the 15th of every month. So on the 15th means exactly 15th. In the first 7 days of every month. In the first week of every month, every month. These are some of the definite adverbs of frequency. And what's the rule in that? They're placed either in the beginning of the sentence or at the end of the sentence. You can't place it in the middle. So I can say, I played tennis on Saturdays, or on Saturdays I played tennis. I can't say I on Saturdays played tennis. That's wrong. What's the difference, however, between I played tennis on Saturdays and on Saturdays I play tennis? Is there a difference? There is. If I say I played tennis on Saturdays, it simply means I'm stressing on Saturdays. I play tennis on Saturdays and not on any other day. But if I say on Saturdays I played tennis, so okay, Saturdays, I'm emphasizing on I play tennis. So I don't play badminton on Saturdays, sorry. And that's the only rule for the definite adverbs of frequency. Now let's look at the non-definite adverbs of frequency. This is the progression line. It goes from 0% to 100%. Now, it's non-definite, so these percentage points, 0, 50, 100, etc. don't make any sense. So don't ask me, what is the chunk for 65%? So if something happens 100% of the times, we'll say always. Regularly. Regularly is also 100%, though some people put it below that. Second is usually or normally. They put regularly with usually or normally. I'll tell you why I put it there. 50-50, sometimes. Below that is occasionally, rarely, hardly, and never. Now, always and regularly, what's the difference? If I say, I always go to office in my car, it means there's not a single day that I go otherwise than in my car. Say by the metro or the bus or cab or whatever. No. But if I say, I regularly play tennis, it means not every day, but the distance, the duration between 2 times that I play tennis is fixed. For instance, I play tennis on Saturdays. So every Saturday I play tennis, so I play tennis regularly on Saturdays. So that's again 100%. I don't miss a single Saturday. Alright? That's why I put regularly on top. Usually, normally, norm means standard. So if it follows a particular standard, then I say normally. same as usually. Okay, let's look at the rules straight away. The first rule is the placement of the adverbs of frequency. You place them before the main verb. So, I always play tennis on weekends, which again means I regularly play tennis on weekends. So, I regularly play. Play is the verb, the finite verb, and regularly comes just before that. It's between I, the actor, and play, the action. This comes between the two. Now, there's one exception with sometimes. Sometimes can be placed in the beginning, in the middle, or in the end. For instance, sometimes I play tennis with my friend. I sometimes play tennis with my friend. I play tennis with my friend sometimes. All three are grammatically correct. Is there a difference in meaning? Yes, there is. You change the word and the meaning changes. Let's look at the difference in the meanings of these three sentences. Sometimes I play tennis with my friends. So here, sometimes I play tennis with my friends. Sometimes I play chess with my friends. Sometimes I go walking alone. Sometimes, but these things change. But if I say I sometimes play tennis with my friend in the middle of the sentence, that means I sometimes play tennis with my friend. Other times I play badminton and now I play chess. I sometimes play tennis with my friends. But I play tennis with my friend sometimes, not every time. The stress is on sometimes there. I hope this is clarified. If it isn't, ask me in the comments below. I'll clarify it to you further. Now, the second rule is with respect to the be verb. What is a be verb? Is, am, are, was, were, will be. And the adverb of frequency is placed after the be verb. Now notice one thing. I am a teacher as the state of affairs, and I teach as the action. So with the be verb in the state of affairs, a sentence that gives you the state, you put the adverb of frequency after the be verb. There's no action word here because I am a teacher. That's not an action verb. So it's just after the be verb. He is always late. Is always. The third rule is with used to and have to. He used to always complain to the teacher. So always is the action word after used to. Similarly with have to. I have to always wear a tie to work. Okay. Then you have the negatives. He doesn't usually come late to work. So doesn't usually come. So it's after doesn't. In positive statement, you don't have the do verb, so it doesn't matter. It's just before the finite verb. But you have a negative sentence, it comes after the do verb. With the state, it's fine, isn't it? He's always late. He isn't ever late. State. He is never late. Great. This again brings me to the exception. You can't use negative sentences with words like hardly, seldom, never. Why? Because these are themselves negative. So I can't say he hasn't hardly played a game. Hasn't and hardly, double negative. I can say he has hardly played a game, or he has never played a game, or he hasn't ever played a game. Okay, the other one is the use of the adverbs of frequency with modals, like can, should, might. These are the modals. Where do you use them? After the modal verb. So, for instance, I can always sing in the party, but don't ask me to play the guitar. I don't know how to do it. Should. we should never speak to that person again. We should never. And might, we might not win the contract this time. We might never win the contract so long as the other party is there. So it's always after the modal verb. With the present continuous, if I say, he is always coming late, what does that sound to you? What's the feeling that you get? You know, he's always coming late. You get some kind of feeling, don't you? Yes, the one of complaining. Don't complain. Don't bellyache. He's always coming late. He's always pulling my leg. He's always criticizing me. It's a complaint with a present continuous. Now, another one is emphasis or stress. Let's say, I'm often worried about my investments. Great, simple sentence. Am, often, perfect. I often am worried about my investments. Now look, I'd rather change the position of the adverb of frequency and the be verb. I often am worried about investments. I'm stressing on that. I often am worried about it. Don't say I'm not. Okay? He's always late. He always is late. As the emphasis. So you change the place of the be verb and the adverb of frequency and you're emphasizing. So if you don't have an intention of emphasizing, you might sound rude. So you have to be careful when you change the place. Do you really want to emphasize? Otherwise you will sound rude. Now I'm going to give you a small conversation bit between two people. I'm going to read it myself, but I'm going to put that on the screen so you can read it as I speak, and you can see how I lay the stress on these words. What do you do in your free time? I generally read books or cook some novelty dishes. Sometimes I play badminton or even go swimming, although rarely. I hardly watch TV. What about you? What do you do in your free time? What free time? I never get home before 9, and then I'm too tired to do anything, so I go off to sleep. I regularly play badminton on weekends though. I always do the shopping in the morning so that the rest of my day is free. Normally I eat at my friend's house. Sometimes I cook, but not all that often, and then I don't eat it. So that was the conversation. Notice how I use the adverbs of frequency and also the voice quality in that. So what I want you to do is tell me about your daily routine using these adverbs of frequency. Put that in the comments below. I look forward to knowing them. I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye. Thank you for watching this video, liking it and subscribing to our channel. We'll see you in the next video. Until then.